Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing our Naya Ghostway deck once again, and this time we are playing against a blue Jeskai Delver deck, or I suppose Jeskai tokens maybe. A bit like the blue-red Delver decks of old, pre-ban I suppose, which still exist I guess, just without Treasure Cruise. But this one's running Monastery Mentor, so it's got sort of a more token-based a way to it, I suppose. So this is our opener, which is absolutely no good thanks to Tech Edge not generating any sort of colour of mana. So I'm going to ship this back, and this is more reasonable. We've got Bop, we can get into Elvish Visionary, Eternal Witness eventually. I mean, turn 2 of Eternal Witness isn't that exciting, but then we can maybe card for something a little bit more exciting, so it seems like a decent to keep. Got these off with Flooded Strand. I'm going to just play my Temple Guard and play out the Bop. I'm going to play Steam Vents, comes into play tapped. I'm going to play the Young Pyromancer on his turn, which is something we wanted to see. Obviously we don't have many answers to that. So Path to Exile being the best one that we available to us, but yeah, not ideal. And then plays a Monastery Mentor. Is, like I say, one of our few answers to the problem of Young Pyromancer or Monastery Mentor. So Path the Monastery Mentor, as the tokens it generates are a lot more scary, given that they have prowess, etc. We just going to do that now, obviously, because we don't want him playing spells on his turn and getting more tokens. And then we're just going to cast this Eternal Witness to get back our Path. So that can work out pretty nicely. We get back our Path, and maybe next turn we blink back again, just so we can answer these creatures. So that's works out fairly nicely, at least potentially anyway. Opponent repeals in response to the Path, so he's going to get his Young Pyromancer back in his hand, but at the very least it's going to be off the table, and he's going to have a single elemental token to show for it. I cast Resto on my turn. I'm not entirely sure why that was. Maybe I was just trying to play around potential counter spells. I mean, he's still got 2 mana, so if he had mana leak, etc., there's no particular advantage, so probably would have been better off just playing that end of turn on his turn. Not entirely remembering what my reasoning was, but yeah, we're going to get Path back from the graveyard. This, so we've got answers to could well be coming around again. Also good to remember that we've got Cord here, so we are potentially set for a combo win, depending on how things go. He runs out Young Pyromancer, casts the Serum Visions, and then a Delver of Secrets, moving at 1 mana. I'm just going to go for the Kiki here. If he's got a Bolt, or I think it turns out he actually has Vapor Snag, then obviously you can answer this, but I feel like it's worth going for. Maybe a little bit risky given that he's got quite a lot of power on board, but I think it was worth going for. But yeah, didn't really the Vapor Snag coming. He bounces that back to hand. Fortunately we actually have a Wood Foothills in hand, so we can recast Kiki next turn, provided we don't go too low. He's going to play Sleight of Hand, a Monastery Mentor, presumably he drew off the Sleight of Hand, otherwise he would have cast that beforehand, presumably. And then it gets Axiom Probe. So he is going to put up a fairly big attack here. I'm just going to block the Delver. As it stands, we go down to 2, meaning we can win next turn by dropping the Kiki Jiki. I suppose it's a little bit risky. Maybe we should drop block the Monastery Mentor, but we actually don't want our Resto to die, so I think the right thing is to block the Delver here and go down to 2. But yeah, maybe a risky play. Maybe we shouldn't have corded so early. Our opponent ends up conceding slightly early, I guess, because he didn't actually know that I had another mountain to cast the Kiki, but he knows I've got the Kiki Jiki, so I suppose there is that. But yeah, he ends up conceding, and we win that one, but fairly narrow. Maybe corded a little bit too early, but not entirely sure what we would have done otherwise. I suppose we could have corded up. I suppose we could have passed the Pyromancer, maybe corded up an Eternal Witness, getting back cord, and then sort of built up from there, I guess. There was definitely other plays on. Could have got an Obstinate Baloth, gained 4 life, and then sort of moved from there, or maybe even got rid of the Resto. Various options on Code of Calling, very versatile card, so an interesting one, but we did just narrowly manage to win that one out. Let's go on to game 2. It's very useless, this chat box these days. This is over, not bad. At least we've got something to do on turn 2, which is sometimes a problem with the deck, not having much to do on our early turns. So got the Visionary, so I don't dislike this hand. It leads off with Island and Serum Visions. Just going to play this Stomping Ground out. Turn 2 Young Pyromancer. Visionary into Ghostway. There's another Young Pyromancer, and then follows that up with a Cataxian Probe, so he's going to get 2 elemental tokens off of that, which isn't something we particularly wanted to see. I have no answer to either of these Young Pyromancers at the moment, so we are threatening to take a bit of a beating. He also played the Delver as well, so again, pressure is mounting. We drop our Windswept Heath, going to get a basic land because we want to save as much life as possible, and we're just going to Eternal Witness. Unfortunately, just being able to get back that, but there isn't a whole lot else we can do at this point in time. Suppose we could fetch up a Bop or something, but I don't think that does a great deal. Attacks us for 5. I think we just want to take that. I suppose we could have traded the Visionary, but not particularly worth it. Sleight of Hand makes a couple more tokens. Getting pretty far ahead at this point. So we're going to block the 2 Young Pyromancers. We could have just traded for them, which might have been a good idea, but I was also tempted to Ghostway. It means we get back Ghostway, we can draw an extra card, etc. But maybe we should have just taken the trade, given that we really want to rid of these token producing guys. So I pass the Delver. She uses a Counter Flux on from the yeah, I saw that from the Delver flip, so I knew it was coming, but I think I wanted him to counter that more than I wanted him to counter Ghostway, I guess. So Ghostway, draw a card, get another path, which is nice. But we are facing down a lot of tokens here now. So he's got 6 tokens he can attack with. Pass his Delver for the second time. Block. Crack for a basic, and try and cast my Resto. I think looking to save the Eternal Witness and getting back a path. But it's all a little bit futile, and he has a Bolt which just finishes it off. So I think we were hoping for a lot, to be honest. But yeah, just able to overwhelm us. Not having an early answer to that Young Pyromancer really, the 2 Young Pyromancers really punished us, and fortunately we came out on the losing end there. So let's go on to game 3. See how we this chat box. So this is fairly decent. I suppose it's not the most exciting of hands, but it's got some mana ramp. It's got the path that we need to deal with his early guy. You know, his young pyromancer, his monastery Swiss sphere, what have you. Ghostway will be exciting if we draw some more cards that actually have the battlefield effects, but we've got Wall of Omens which can draw us a little bit deeper, and yeah, in general, not too unhappy with this as an opener. And gets our opponent a bolt, steam vents to bolt our bop, which we're not devastated about. Cast a Wall of Omens and draw a card off that. One plays Serum Visions, so it's nice to see that he's not got too fast a hand, no young pyromancer just yet. He plays a Pithing Needle on Windswept Heath, which seems a little odd. Does turn off Windswept Heath, but it seems like a bit of a hedge. Unfortunately, we actually do draw a Windswept Heath, so that is pretty much the worst card we could have drawn after that play. But yeah, definitely hoping to draw more. We're not doing a whole lot here, so it's a little bit disappointing to see that as a draw, but hasn't done too much just yet. Monster Mentor plus Gutaxian Probe means he's going to be able to make a token. Going to pass to get out of the way now, but he's going to make a Prowess 1/1 here. Actually, Wall of Omens matches up fairly well with that. So, fetched up a Stomping Ground, fortunately, which is fortunate given that we actually draw Kiki-Jiki. Not able to cast that at the moment, thanks to Windswept Heath being turned off. So, slightly awkward. I think I'm actually only running 2 Stomping Grounds, so maybe we wouldn't be able to do that anyway. But yeah, not a great draw, so we haven't drawn particularly well in this matchup. We cast Serum Visions, which makes his token grow slightly larger, but not enough to get past the Wall of Omens, obviously. So we're just going to block here. He also has a Delver, which is fine. And we'll see what he reveals next turn. For Path, which is always good to see, but we would something a little more sort of aggressive, or just any kind of card that would get me some value off Ghostway. I really don't want to go Ghostway for draw a card, because that seems pretty poor. The Path is Monastery Mentor, and just block the Prowess token. Foothills, which is going to be able to find us a mountain, so we can cast Kiki-Jiki. Could be pretty sweet here, provided he doesn't have a removal spell. But unfortunately he finds Bolt off the top, which flips his Delver, and he's going to kill this Kiki-Jiki. Also has a young Pyromancer, so he's going to get some tokens off of that as well. A Wall of Omens, but it turns out we have a Path as well as the Bolt, so he's going to get rid of that, so we're not going to get the draw off the Wall of Omens, and we're opened up for a pretty big attack here as well. Not good news for us. So his Prowess token is now a 3/3, he can attack him for 6, and moves down to 9. Scavenge our sideboard cards, which could be good, but unfortunately he draws Path, or has a Path I suppose. We can gain some life, make our scavenging moves slightly bigger, but it's not going to do us a whole lot of good, so yeah, I think I concede here, yeah. Yeah, felt a little unlucky there. We didn't draw particularly well, despite having some decent cards in our opening hand. Ghostway was a bit of a dud here because we just didn't draw anything that was useful with it. And at the best we could have maybe drawn a card off Wall of Omens with it, which seems pretty poor. So yeah, was a bit rough on us here. Again, I think a big problem which I've been having with the deck is that we just don't have enough targeted removal, and cards like Young Pyromancer and Monastery Mentor are just difficult to deal with. We do have Path, being able to recur Path is great, but I just feel like we need maybe Lightning Bolt, maybe Dismember, just as a way to deal with things like this, because it's very difficult in this deck. And yeah, That seems to be a big problem for the deck at the moment as it stands, I feel.